Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Mitchell, and today Justin and I will be discussing about alpha males and what it is to be an alpha. I know we discussed about this earlier between Justin and I, and we do have our differences in opinions about it, but without further ado, I am going to add Justin in just a second. What's up, Carter? How you doing? Also, if you guys find this video content of value, you guys can show your appreciation by donating any amount that you feel is equal to the value of this video. Our details will be in the description. We do this every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific time and 4 p.m. Eastern time. And also, if you guys have any questions, feel free to send us a question. We might even use you as a video too as well. We will always keep you anonymous though. Anonymous. Yo, what's good, Justin? How you doing?
I joined the dark side of the force.
Yeah. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Hello.
Let me adjust.
Hello,
this
everybody.
a bit.
No worries. Yeah, cool. How you doing, man? What's good, everybody? Good. Also, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask us. We'll pin the question down below too as well. All right.
What up, people?
Let me post
What is up?
I am trying to pin a comment. There you go. Alpha males. So, Justin.
What is good?
What is good, man? Happy Thursday. Good to have you.
Yes, glorious Thursday.
Yeah.
Glorious Thursday.
Yeah. So, let's
Let me
get
go
started.
back to the dark side.
There you go. I'm going to wait for that, and then we'll have you. There you go.
All
right. You ready?
No.
Right.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right, let's go. So, Justin, I know we have differences in opinions when it becomes to be an alpha male. So, I would like you to share yours to your viewers.
I mean, it's simple. I hate it.
Why?
I hate that phrase. I hate that idea.
Dark
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Do
yeah,
it.
cool.
Yeah, I hate the idea. I hate that phrase. I hate the marketing that's been done around it by many people.
Speaking of marketing, I gotta let everybody know I love Pokemon. So yeah, go ahead.
You know, I don't like it for various reasons.
Okay.
Yes, and that's my stance. Do you want me to go into it more?
Yeah,
or,
please. Oh, before we get into it, what's up with Audible though? What's up with Audible? I know we've been talking about it a long time. What's up with Audible?
Nothing's up with Audible because they tripping.
Okay.
But persistence. Persistence is the key. I'ma just stalk them into submission until they just give me my free monthly membership. That's all I want. That's all I'm really asking for, the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
So this is not sponsored today. This video is not sponsored.
And I even have a book that I'm gonna bring up that you could get off of Audible, but they ain't shooting me no money. So you know what I mean. But still, I want people to learn or at least expand their mind a little bit. So we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, most definitely. But yeah, alpha males, I hate it. It is an incomplete term. It has become this crazy marketing ploy. If you go online and look up anything about like masculinity or being a man, that alpha male bullshit will pop up. It's rhetoric. I think it's a dangerous rhetoric, and a lot of times I think it's, like I said before, very incomplete as far as being a person. It paints a very narrow box of what like a supposed alpha male is. And it's like it doesn't equate for the complexity of like the human condition or like it's human society at all, or the human psyche in any stretch of the imagination. So that is why I dislike it.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean?
I mean that all right, so the term alpha male, it originated in it's based off the scientific observations of animals in the wild, like chimps and wolves and shit. And I would like to think that we are more complex than a chimp or a wolf. We have actual rationale thought. We have self-actualization. So
Mm-hmm.
to try to, it's like make it as simple as like you're an alpha, you're a beta in a
Mm-hmm.
human social hierarchy in a
Mm-hmm.
human like setting, it doesn't fit. It does
You're
not
saying we're
fit.
more
So
complex than that.
way more complex. Like I said, we're
Okay.
not animals. We have actual self-actualization. We
Mm-hmm.
understand that we are alive. We understand that we are people. We understand a complex range of emotions. So when you say like, when a dude here like I need to be an alpha male, it paints a
Mm-hmm.
very narrow and damaging picture of what it is to
Mm-hmm.
be a man. You know, and that's
Hello,
that's my
Julie.
issue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One of my
Mm-hmm.
many issues. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And that okay. And Yaku, let's see what it says. He said the term seems to be to not be accepted like it used to be in today's time, the cancel culture.
And that's another reason I hate the term alpha male because I like directly link the
Mm-hmm.
whole alpha male mindset and that rhetoric to the term toxic masculinity. Like the idea of
Yeah.
alpha male is why that toxic masculinity term came up, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion. At least I had a great deal to do about it. And it's the reason why like
Mm-hmm.
masculinity is fucked to a degree now.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
see what I mean?
Carter, yeah, Carter said, what other phrase or word could you use to describe a man?
A man. I mean, I don't think you need a phrase or word. A man is a man, you know. But let's be
Yeah.
honest here. When you say like alpha male, what is the
Mm-hmm.
when you say alpha male?
Mm-hmm.
The term, the idea, and the image that comes to most people, a vast
Mm-hmm.
majority of people,
Mm-hmm.
is like a very singular entity, a very singular being.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a strong dude. You know,
Confident.
I can
Yeah.
beat people up. You know, it may say confidence, but the problem is that confidence
Mm-hmm.
is often it's fake. I don't think it's often real, and it can
Mm-hmm.
all and that confidence can easily lead into arrogance.
Mm-hmm. And we
You see
spoke
what I'm
about
saying?
that. We spoke about the arrogance and being cocky earlier in our earlier episodes too, as well. Where the biggest difference between confident people and people that are just cocky is because cocky comes off as ingenuine. It doesn't feel authentic versus someone that's confident is coming from a place of genuineness. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it's once again, and to be fair, I am speaking from my own personal like thoughts and stuff, but like
Yeah.
I don't like the term. I hate the term.
Hmm.
You go on to YouTube and type up alpha male, you're gonna get a lot of
Hmm.
motherfuckers that looks very similar and the same, and it can be very damaging to like young boys, a young man growing up
Hmm.
that's trying to
Yeah.
make sense of how they feel.
Mm.
Might
Yeah.
gravitate to like that kind of
Hmm.
rhetoric, which in turn is dangerous and perpetuates a weird cycle. You see what I'm saying? Where
Yeah, I can see
it
where that's coming from. Yeah, I can see that. And we'll
exactly
discuss
where
about that later on in this
yeah
episode too as well. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah,
Hmm.
it's just it's like I say, I think it's dangerous. I don't like it. I blame it for the attack on like masculinity now.
Hmm.
Where there is for good or bad, whatever people want to argue,
Hmm.
there is a there is a sort of a attack on like
Hmm.
I say masculinity, but the truth is it's like boys. Everyone
Hmm.
knows like I'm 38, man. I grew up. I'm not that old, but I
So
did
yeah,
grow up in
you just
a
out your
different
age.
time.
It's
Oh
in the
yeah,
public now. It's in the
whatever.
public. Yeah.
Whatever. But I did grow up in a very different time. I grew up in a time where like you could fight in school. You might get suspended for 2 or 3 days, but
Yeah.
you wasn't deemed a risk or angry or prison. You'll find out who's alpha. Yeah, man, the
Cool.
prison
Yeah.
is a whole nother beast.
Yeah.
We can do a whole nother show on prison.
I
I
ain't
ain't touching
doing
that.
no show.
I ain't
That'll be
touching
all
that.
on you. I'll watch your show. Just I
You,
ain't got nothing to do with
you,
it.
you want to know why I'll never go to prison? Just look up Fleece Johnson. All right. um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
so I do think that it's just like I said, it's dangerous, and it's not even a lot of that rhetoric that comes from that is from it's like ego driven. It's not
Hmm.
even about
Hmm.
being a better person. It's not about being like a complete person.
Yeah.
That's where
Hmm.
you get that shit where it's like men shouldn't feel,
Yeah.
completely hide your emotions hold this shit in, then motherfuckers all of a sudden end up drinking their life away, or you know what I'm saying, or going crazy, just all of a sudden punch a picture of their family, and it's like, And like we said earlier, like I do believe in like stoicism to a degree, but it's like managing your emotions. It's not being ruled by it. It's not like denying them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. And that's your definition of like what is an alpha male, even though you dislike the terminology. I guess there's no real term for that. To keep it simple, we could just call yourself a man, for now, at least until, somebody comes up with another terminology that we agree on, that we could, understand. But this is how I feel. Like, this is what I think an alpha male is. And I wrote some stuff down too as well, where, your scientific term is kind of like, it comes from a hierarchy of like, lions, chimps, like where
basically being at the top of like your social status hierarchy.
Yeah, so
is
for
the
example,
idea of the alpha male.
Like, for example, we're both lions, and I'm trying to get the female lion. I need to either kill you or just injure you really bad. And in other words, you lost. I got her now. You lost. She's gonna come with me, and that's like the whole the hierarchy. But in my terms and how I see it is, an alpha male is someone that just doesn't take shit from people, So I wrote this down. It's being secure in yourself. You're confident in your own path. You have high values, and you like things that you want to invest in yourself too, so that you can build confidence. And it all kind of sums up to confidence at the very end. But so knowing your worth. You won't tolerate disrespect, and you won't allow others to take advantage of you, and you will walk away from any type of deal, whether it is professional or personal, if that doesn't meet your expectations or your outcome. And that's, in my opinion, an alpha male. Now, a lot of people talk about like, oh, I want to be an alpha, I want to be like this, I want to be X, Y, and Z, but alpha gets this weird, like this stigma where they feel like they have to be an asshole, and you don't need to be an asshole to be an alpha. You just don't take shit from people, and that's my view. So, for example, if someone's talking shit to me, I'm just gonna let them know, look, you can't be talking to me like that. And they could either respect that or not. And if they don't, I'm out. I don't need to be around that bullshit.
But see, I see that. Yeah. What's up? I see that more as just you having standards and not being a pushover, which I appreciate everybody. Yeah, don't be a pushover. Have standards. Like, don't let folks walk over you. Like stand up for yourself and what you believe in. But I do think that, like, all right, for instance, you said, dudes walking around thinking they're alphas, right? Well, like, everyone can't be a leader. So, like, if someone's an alpha, then who's the beta? What dude really wants to call himself a beta? But, like, it's know what I'm saying? Like, it's a very incomplete description. It's like a very, like, for human social standards. Yeah, that's exactly how it's
and no one wants to be like, oh, yeah, I'm below that person. And some people are okay with it. Not everybody will be.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're, like, okay, like, no one likes to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're in a circle of friends, if you have like 4 friends that you all kick out, and then someone comes on and be like, "Oh, this dude, he's obviously the alpha of the group," and it's like, you know what I'm saying? How the hell that make you feel? That's like, oh no, that's some bullshit. You know what I mean? It doesn't. I'm an omega. You are the end, Yaku. You are the end of humanity. That's what he's saying. That's what the omega is. I am the alpha, the omega. It's just, the term, like, I'll hop back to what you said about, like, the Lions example. That's a perfect example of, alpha males and that social hierarchy. But to show that it doesn't, like, fit the complexity of human social standards, if that same thing came up, if it was me and you, and we was fighting over a girl, and we was in a restaurant, right?
Yes.
And we get into it, and I whoop your ass. I'm bigger than you. I beat the shit out of you. That does not put me at the top of the human social hierarchy. They gonna be like, this motherfucker is a menace.
Yeah.
You see? You see what I'm saying? So, in that term, who really is alpha in that sense? Is it me who lost control and assaulted you? Because if we were in the wild, or even caveman times, then I would be the alpha.
Yeah.
But in this society, that would actually make you more alpha because I gave into my emotions, my fear, and all this
Yeah.
stuff, and then
In
I
society's
went
term, yes.
outside.
In society's
I
term,
went
yes.
outside the boundaries of the societal
Yeah.
norm and what's accepted. So just right there, the idea of alpha and beta is flipped. And that's just a simple example. Like, I mean, that's why, like I said, I hate that term because it doesn't equate for all the differences of people and the differences of masculinity. And
because we have rationale.
Yeah, because we have rationale, we have self-actualization, we actually think things through. We have way more complex social structure than the animals that were studied to develop these terms that are now put on us, and it's becoming it's becoming, in my opinion, a very dangerous box to put men in.
Yes, I could see where that's coming from.
Yeah.
We are evolved, what Yaku said.
Yeah,
And we are adapting. But there are, so how I see it is, it's kind of like the whole pickup artist thing that we were talking about earlier in our episodes. And so if you guys ever want to check that out, it's in previous episodes. But where a pickup artist will come in and basically show you the ropes on how to seduce a woman. And it's kind of like that. Look, if I learned on Monday, I could very well go out to the clubs on Thursday, Friday, and then still pull some numbers just because I learned something that quick. So it's a very high return. It's a quick return. But the thing is, well, like the whole pickup artist industry and everything, I'm not bashing on that. But it does kind of give you that, it kind of guides you into the wrong path to the conclusion. That's how I see it. Now, not everybody sees it that way.
Yeah, no,
but,
we agree on
it's,
that.
it's
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
What's up, Andy?
incomplete.
How you
It's
doing?
not good for the soul.
It's incomplete. It's not the be all end all, which is like, oh, if I'm a pickup artist, I'm just gonna seduce like 10 girls and and for me, I don't ever preach that. I will rather have one quality woman and that's it. That's me. I would rather much have that, but some other believe that, hey, you know what? I don't believe in monogamy. I believe that I could have as many women as possible. So I'm gonna do that. And if that's what you truly believe in, and that's your path, and that's what you want to do, then go ahead.
Yeah.
But just know that a lot of people is gonna get hurt in the long run. And what we kind of preach is at the very end goal is harmony, happy. You're just being happy at the end of the day. Like, I'm not hurting nobody, and we're at peace, and that's it. That's our end goal. But yeah, so with the whole like pickup artists, it kind of leads you into the wrong path, which is like the whole mindset of being an alpha male. An alpha male kind of feels like, well, I have to be masculine 24/7. And it's like, nobody could be anything 24/7. Come on, let's be real.
Yeah, or like, well, different. I keep saying this term, but it's true. Or different social hierarchy. What do you say? I would still think being an alpha is still just a role play that not really needed. A leader works better. Yeah, even a leader. Well, that kind of goes into what I was gonna say. But if you come in with an alpha male mindset, that could be contingent on like what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like someone who may be an alpha when they are playing basketball. But if you take that same person and put them in the engineering department of Google or some shit, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be an alpha in that situation just because they won't have the skill set to succeed in that hierarchy. You know what I mean? So that whole idea, I think, gets skewed. And it's, I keep saying it, but it's what I believe. It's just a very incomplete way of looking at things. And I think it leads to problems down the road that develops into bigger issues. I think the alpha male whole mindset, and I will say this, I do believe a big part of that shit is it's a marketing ploy. You know what I mean? Dudes want to pick up girls. Dudes want to look good. Guys, like there are things that's kind of like underneath what like a lot of guys want. So it's marketed that way. You want to be an alpha, you gotta use this cologne. You want to be an alpha, you gotta do. You know what I mean? So it's a lot. It's a lot of that too. So I'm not like blaming all of it on like people who do like alpha male videos or whatever on YouTube and shit like that. But I do think that like. So I think the idea of like the alpha male has like locked men's understanding of masculinity into a certain box. And then now in this time and day where like a lot of stuff is, evolving or changing or being re-examined, like that term like toxic masculinity comes up, which is another term I hate. I'm like, what the fuck is that? But the problem with that is it's true, you did have a lot of men who were using their strength or their power in abusive ways.
Yeah. Physical.
And abusing it physically, emotional, mentally, professionally, like any other way. Like you have a lot of men in a society designed for that. They're like men abuse their powers. But then what happened, in my opinion, is that society starts saying like, okay, being like certain traits that men and especially young boys have is intrinsically bad. So now it's like being angry is bad. Being aggressive is bad. And, for good or bad, whatever people believe, I think it's kind of proven that like men tend to exhibit those traits more so than like women, or boys more so than young girls. It's the same reason why boys are like getting a fist fight while, before girls, it's more common. And when you say like that stuff is bad, a young boy could internalize that as I'm bad because I feel that way, which leads to deeper psychological problems going down.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I know that's like a bit of a stretch, but I truly believe like you're having this idea of like this
linking
is what a man is.
that action to me being a bad person.
Exactly. Exactly. When instead, like masculinity and the human psyche is way more complex. Than,
Hello, Bonnie. How you doing? Yeah.
What's up, Bonnie girl? Then people admit like that people want to like explore, and you risk like I said, damaging like young boys when you have this alpha mindset. Like this is what you need to be. I mean, to a degree, I think a lot of us grew up in that whole thing where it's like you need to do this to be a man, or you have to do this to be a man. And to be fair, I think that like coming from older male role models, I think it was done out of love, and I think there is a lot of lessons that was learned because there are certain things you need to do to be a man, but then you risk like neglecting another part of like the total person. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So let me try to puzzle it together. So what we're saying is we're within the same realm of each other. Because
most
you're
definitely.
saying
Most
that
definitely. We're
because
agreeing.
Let's more in the gray area too as well. But what you're saying is you dislike the term sub Joseph, sub Eddie. You dislike the term alpha male because it kind of just puts you on a one-sided thing versus you see it as maybe like a spectrum of something. It's like a spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think I most definitely think like men, men aren't just alpha and beta. I think men are on a spectrum of, if you want to use those terms, it's at best on a spectrum of it, depending on the situation.
Yeah, you move within those lengths. Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Whereas like an alpha male, if you are alpha, you have to be like this 24/7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I said, I will concede that is most that is a mindset that is pushed and marketed nowadays. So I'm not saying it's 100% true, but if I'm 10 years old in this day and age, and I'm looking up like, so I get the idea like I need to be a real man, I need to do this, and I type in being a real man, and I get alpha male.
What's up, Simon? Yeah.
A lot of it's a 90% chance to like shit and the information I get, it's going to be very unhealthy for a young male psyche.
Yeah, because it's pushed towards this whole movement, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like it's only one-sided, you don't get to see the other side. And if you are seeing the other side, you're considered more feminine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and whereas like an Whereas, if you're an alpha, right? If you're an alpha, you're not supposed to exhibit certain traits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exhibit certain
Yeah.
traits or even acknowledge certain like feelings or stuff that's like intrinsic to being a human. But
Like jealousy,
but
which is
traditionally is
like
bad.
Traditionally is bad,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like, well, would you say it's kind of like, well, because you can't take away how you feel, you can only kind of suppress that too as well,
which
right?
is
how you respond to that, or react,
which is bad. Like suppressing emotion is how motherfuckers end up on drugs or drinking or shooting up and killing a bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? It's
thanks, Eddie.
Oh, what's up,
he said
Eddie?
love
Thank
the
you, man.
words of wisdom from both of y'all. Thank you.
That's how you get angry motherfuckers and people who are I for lack of a better term, like incomplete in a lot of ways because they ain't done that work. And like I said before, I most definitely believe and preach stoicism. The difference is with stoicism, it's not being ruled by your emotions, not making irrational decisions based on how you feel in a moment. But that doesn't mean you don't take the time to think and understand and like internalize and like process like how you feel about something. And I will say this too, like I think because of the whole idea of alpha males and like toxic masculinity, what ended up happening is like now, like I mean, to be blunt, I don't know how else to put it. Do you know how like dudes are kind of bitches now, like young dudes and shit. Like you look at like,
right.
you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Like it's like it's in my opinion, guys seem maybe not as mentally strong, or just I don't want to say weaker because that's not fair.
We're on a touchy subject, so
I'm not going to say weaker because that's not fair. But I would just say they seem to be a bit more sensitive to things, or like confused, very confused in a lot of ways, and I think a lot of that has to do with the idea of like being an alpha leading to what is masculinity, leading to like the idea of toxic masculinity. Leading it to like I think there's a big issue with a lot of women. Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was talking about. I see it in newer music artists, right? Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
I think that what happened is with the whole toxic masculinity, instead of men taking the lead to be like, okay, there is something fucked up about how we're acting in our social hierarchy and in our society. We need to correct these and take these steps. Like women came in and started telling dudes how to act, which is kind of how you got the like being angry is bad and being aggressive is bad, which leads to like young guys who have this feeling, which is a lot of young dudes being very confused and feeling bad, and it was treating it to themselves and withdrawing instead of expressing that. So you have like women trying to tell young men how to be men, which can't happen, like because they're not men. It'd be like me trying to tell a girl what to do. I have no idea. Like I'm the last.
Like I know what it's like to be pregnant.
Yeah, no, like I'm the last dude to tell a girl what it is to be a girl. I don't know shit about that. I don't want to know. It doesn't look fun on any stretch of imagination. You know what I'm saying? But you do you most definitely get that. That happening, and then it leads to a lot of confusion because what happens is like I said, it's known that women and men. I'll say women and men. I'll say girl and boys. Like they experience like anger and aggressiveness differently. It's more prevalent in young boys playing war, fighting shit like that. So like you have someone who can't really relate to feeling like that kind of anger and rage, trying to tell you how to manage it, and it just doesn't work. But once again, that's not women's fault. That's men's fault for like not recognizing this problem and like getting ahead of it and fixing it ourselves, or not being in the home, or whatever the reason is. So that's on us. So I don't want nobody thinking like I'm blaming women for shit, because they're trying to do the best they can. And but I mean, I know that's like a long off topic and like kind of psychological and stuff. But I do believe like a lot of that starts with stuff like the idea of I need to be an alpha male.
Mhm.
You know, because yeah, it's an unattainable standard. You're trying to be Superman at that point.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, you're trying to be everything and you can't.
So what you trying? So I'm trying to puzzle what you're trying to say is when it comes to like other animals, right? Like chimps or lions and whatnot. Their hierarchy is different because if we mentioned earlier, look, if I just whooped your ass and I'm in the animal kingdom, we're not humans now. I killed you. Technically, I'm considered an alpha. But when it comes to more of a human perspective, since we evolved, it is more complex to just be like, oh, this is an alpha, this is an alpha, this is an alpha. It's not
Yeah.
so much black and white. We fall into this little gray area where,
Mm.
and that's why you dislike that term, because we are so complex as creatures now, where it's not as easy to define us.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
there's
And
no
that's
term,
it.
and you're it's okay for you to kind of move between the spectrum, different wavelengths, and to see like, okay, if you're alpha right now, you might not be alpha over here just because there's something that you don't know. Whereas like maybe I'm good at video games, I'm very good at that. So, but I don't have a single clue on how to play an instrument. So it's like, does that make me less of an alpha?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
yeah. It just, I mean, to put it, I talked to like a long roundabout way to put it simply. In the animal kingdom, in
Hmm.
nature, it is
Hmm.
survival of the
Okay.
fittest. If I can kill you, I run
I
this shit.
Yeah. Hmm.
That is not the case in like human social
Hmm.
hierarchy.
Hmm.
I've been, I've had many jobs. I've
Hmm.
had many managers who I could just choke out in a second, like popping off at me. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
In the animal kingdom, I would just choke them and kill them, and it's like, now this store is
That's
mine.
it.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's not the
Yeah.
case.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I
And
can see where you're coming from. Yeah.
yeah, and so like because of the complexities of like human social hierarchy and social structure,
Hmm.
you like that term alpha male is
Hmm.
incomplete, and I feel it's an obsolete term. You know. Now, and I say it now as bad as I bash on the alpha male terminology. Shit, I get what you're saying. Like, there are a lot of there are a lot of guys who like say like alpha male and use it in a positive term. It should be like, look,
Hmm.
stand up for yourself.
Hmm.
Don't take shit from people. Don't be a pushover. If you
Yeah.
believe
Yeah.
something like fights, and which, hey, that's fine. In that case, you just are arguing like
Hmm.
schematics. It's like
Hmm.
we believe the same thing. You just put a different
Yeah.
title. That I don't necessarily agree. I ain't got no issue with you. Do what you do.
Hmm.
But I look at it more from the perspective of like, especially young boys falling into this. I need to be alpha. I need to be strong. I need to be this, that, and the other, and then not being able to live up to that, or this
Hmm.
idealized version of that, and
Hmm.
then feeling depressed or down or withdrawn or whatever on themselves. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
If they can't meet
So
the expectation of what an alpha is.
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. Yeah.
So
So
in other words, don't get too attached to that terminology, but like what you said, don't be a pushover, right?
yeah,
Have
exactly,
lead your own life, have your own mission and purpose.
exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly, and like I said, I think it's also a big marketing ploy too.
Yeah.
In a lot of it's marketed that way. They're always trying
Hmm.
to sell you shit. It's like the algorithm of
Hmm.
YouTube, Instagram, all these social media
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
like perpetuate this status of standard of what you should be. And
Hmm.
it's like it's not that easy. It's not that easy
Hmm.
at all. You know.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Trying to draw this all in. Um,
I know that was a
yeah,
lot.
yeah,
That was a
yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I know you dislike the term. Uh,
Mhm.
I don't have a new terminology for that, but so I'm still going to use just the terminology of alpha male because it's easy for most people to understand. And
Yeah, most definitely.
since everything is still within the realm of relationships, I believe that in a relationship where, of course it needs two to work out. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like it can't always be one way. Like if it's one way, eventually the other person's not gonna be able to handle that anymore and they're like, yo, that's it, I'm out. So, like, for example, let's just say a guy and a girl in a relationship. Let's just say, the guy's the alpha, okay? I know you don't like that term, Justin, but we just use this for now, okay? So the guy is like, look, I don't really appreciate what you're telling me. So he, in my mind, in my idea, this alpha over here is, he is communicating in a very respectable and loving way. He's not, he's not being condescending or anything. So he will say something to let her know, hey, I don't appreciate this. Maybe you could convey it a little bit differently or tell me in a different type of tone or whatever, because, hey, I don't like that. And then if she continues to do that and doesn't change, because like I said, it needs two to work. If she continues to do that, then at that point, he just walks away and be like, look, it's not going to work out because you won't change your habits, and I'm trying to be nice about it. And so that's my interpretation of what an alpha is.
Yeah,
not being able to like stand up for yourself a little bit.
You have your standards, and like I said, at that point we're arguing schematics because my rebuttal would be, well, there's a beta who quote unquote would be a beta male who could also do something similar, and or like be like I'm not going to stand for this and stuff like that. But it's like I said, I think every dude is kind of on that whole spectrum if you want to use those terms. And it is. Yeah,
it's like taking charge, but I think the umbrella term is like alpha, right? So everything that falls under it, you could be like, don't take shit from people, taking charge, right? Leading your own path, not worrying about what other people have to say, and X, Y, and Z. Like that's alpha male terminology. It's like the umbrella term, and that umbrella term you say is obsolete because we as humans are different from just regular animals in the animal kingdom. Sounds like Cobra Kai.
I still gotta watch Cobra Kai. I ain't watched it.
Yeah.
I need to check it out. And I mean, it is taking charge. Like, but you take charge of your life. But then part of it too is, once again, which is why, part of the problem I have with like the whole idea and concept of like alpha male is that, a lot of that rhetoric that somebody will hear saying they need to be alpha means you always need to take charge. But in my mind, part of being a fully realized and developed individual is is knowing when I know something and when I don't know something.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, we not to get too political, but let's be blunt here. Donald Trump follows everything of what an alpha male should be. Like, if you look up, like, if you have a category of like what people think an alpha male is, he fits all of those like fucking markers, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But he is not a good human being. He's not a fully realized human. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's like the still.
I agree. He is an alpha. I do agree. He is an alpha.
Yeah, no, the dude's alpha. I do agree. I ain't gonna lie about that. But he is not. He, to steal a term from the psychology called Jung, he is like the shadow side of like masculinity, the shadow of like that
the darker side,
being a man, which is pretty much the dark side, man. Which is why I have my hood on. Okay, he is he's the shadow form, and like to me, I put like the alpha male mindset. To me, it's the shadow form of masculinity. We actually really agree on. I agree with everything you said. The truth is, once again, I'm saying it's schematics. It's like I don't like putting the term alpha male on it because.
So you agree with everything. You just don't agree with just that wording. The wording is toxic.
I don't like that wording
could be toxic.
Because that wording could lead down a darker path.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. Yes,
you see
it's kind of
like
with the whole pickup artist thing. It kind of leads you into a darker path where,
So that's really the thing. It's just
Well, maybe that word just needs to evolve a little bit. It just needs to evolve. The definition might need to change. Who knows?
Oh yeah, I mean, evolve and figure out whatever. Figure out what it is.
Yeah.
It's just,
but then again,
like I said, that's my thing. I just don't. I personally am not a fan of it. of that
I
terminology.
I can
You
see
know,
that. I can see that. Yeah.
yeah,
It's kind of like saying no one says I am an alpha male, or you shouldn't, right? It's kind of like saying, look, I am legendary. I am a mature person. Like, those are not the type of words that you should be crediting yourself. Other people should accredit that for you. Like,
yeah.
Justin is a very mature person, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel like if someone calls himself a legend, they're not a fucking
No,
legend.
no.
It is similar to that same thing. Like
Yeah.
if you hear a dude saying like I'm an alpha male, it's like
Not like,
nah, I instantly feel like you have some
you
confidence
just
issue.
lost a lot. You lost a lot of accreditation.
You know, I feel
Credibility.
like
Yeah.
I feel like there's
Hmm.
some confidence issues
Hmm.
there. If you gotta walk around telling people
Hmm.
like, oh, I'm an alpha, oh, I'm an alpha, so I didn't put
Hmm.
up with that shit because I'm like, this sounds to me like you got some other issues,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
So yeah,
So you agree with the ideology. You just don't agree with it because humans now are more evolved and everything. So unless otherwise, someone could figure out different terminology. But then again, you know, it's good that we do have that term, so that way other people could maybe grow from that and understand it, or at least take that as like a little push, like a little jump start. Like, hey, I don't know how to talk to women, so maybe picking up a book from the pickup artist, standpoint to understand, and then kind of use that and guide you. But then don't let it be the be all end all at the very end, because you might be led down to the wrong path.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
It is to quote Yoda, it is the path to the dark side. All right,
Hmm. Hmm.
it is the path to the. I think so. It is the path to the dark side, and
Hmm.
I think it does more harm than good overall. And it's not
Hmm.
even, and
Hmm.
a lot of the term the videos and rhetoric and
Hmm.
everything you will see relating around that isn't even for the benefit of dudes. It's for selling products and
Hmm.
shit, marketing ploys. So, you get it's I think it's damaging, especially I keep saying this, but I know I'm getting old because I'm thinking like, all right, the youth is the
The
future
young.
and all that shit,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Michael
yeah,
Jackson
cool.
said that
I
too.
don't like
Michael
the
Jackson
baby.
said that when he was.
Yeah, no,
Yeah. So
if you
yeah.
anybody who's seen Coming to America, my boy Randy Watson, I believe the children are the future. Thank you.
Yeah.
But it's damaging to young boys, especially in this time where so much is changing so fast. They're inundated with so much information.
Hmm.
Um, you
We're
know,
fed with that whole you talk about the whole echo chamber before too. I know you
yeah.
didn't
Oh
mention
yeah,
it
yeah.
earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we live in an echo chamber where,
Hmm.
it's proven that, most people get their news through the phone or the internet or some outlet
Hmm.
like that, or
Hmm.
CNN or whatever.
Yeah.
And
And
like
then.
it's not even about unbiased facts anymore. It's about if you click an alpha male video,
Hmm.
then they're going to be suggested 8 more alpha male videos or
Hmm.
videos similar to that. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
easier it starts to sway. It's like, I saw this sociologist talking about that. It's like tilting the floor of humanity like three
Hmm.
degrees. You don't notice
Hmm.
it right off the back, but you give it time and, everything just
Yeah.
starts to
Starts.
fall down.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
feel like it's the gateway into that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So to summarize this a little bit, just don't take shit from people. You don't have to adapt to that word and say you're an alpha. If someone calls you an alpha, maybe you can just agree with it and just kind of walk away and be like, cool, great. Take it as a compliment. Uh, but if you do like that term alpha male and that does make you feel better, great. More power to you. And just kind of live your life. And it just I forgot to say this earlier, so I might get a lot of bash for this, but this term alpha male does not only refer to males. Like, there's alpha females as well. So it's not only males. There are
Yeah.
women out there that takes charge and that leads their own path, and they're like, I don't need a man to make me happy, but they don't mind having a man in their life if if it's their category. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
listen. You got people who are. You're always. I won't even. Well, I'm not even gonna say alpha. You will always have people who are at the top of
Hmm.
their social status hierarchy,
Hmm.
whatever, and that's in whatever form that takes, whether it be
Hmm.
work, personal, social, whatever. You will all,
Hmm.
men or women. It's human. It's
Hmm.
the human social structure. There will
Yeah.
always be people at the top of a hierarchy. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I guess as we've talked now for almost an hour, and I think
Hmm. Hmm.
I have blatantly come out. I don't like the term because I think it paints a very narrow
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah. Cool. Was
Yes,
like
Street
Street
Fighter
Fighter
Alpha
Alpha
had,
has your
girls
girls
that
and guys.
it's
Chun
also
Li,
had that. It also had
is she
that
an
eight
alpha?
groove, which was tough as hell to pin. um, yes, Chung Li is very alpha, very very alpha.
Yeah.
Yes, most definitely,
Hmm.
most
Hmm.
definitely. You know,
Yeah.
although yeah. I was trying to think who was a good. I'm more of a jury person, but that's Street Fighter 4. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's.
Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah,
Hmm. How do you, for the people that's watching right now, what do you guys feel about what we just discussed earlier? If you've reached that far into this video, let us know. And
yeah.
yeah.
If you've listened to me rant and ramble
Hmm.
for this long, how do you feel about
Hmm.
anything that was said? Any questions? Any
Hmm.
comments?
Hmm.
Like I said, I know it's a lot,
It
and
is
it
a
was
lot. It is a lot. It's a lot
you know
for a lot of people to kind of change their mind to even say, look, I could still be alpha without putting that terminology into saying I am an alpha.
yeah. I mean, once again, it's just we agree on so many things. It's just a term. It's
Yeah.
like yeah, don't. I would tell if I had a young son, my big thing to him
Hmm.
would be don't take shit. You know,
Yeah.
don't be a pushover. If somebody starts up with you, you finish that shit. You know what I'm saying? Put that
Yeah.
motherfucker in
Yeah.
the dirt. But do not be abusive
Yeah. Hmm.
with
Hmm.
don't do not be an abusive person.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know.
Chase base. I agree. I like the objectivity of your guys' opinion.
Oh, thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's and
Hmm.
that's what it is
Hmm.
too. Is like it's not being abusive with strength. Like my whole
Yeah.
philosophy for dudes, for men and young men in
Hmm.
particular, is it's that whole like be strong so you can be
Hmm.
caring sort of thing.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know,
Look,
um,
let's see. Yaku
what's
said
that?
the word really isn't bad. It's just the history gave it a certain tone. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
It's
most
and
definitely,
that
most
tone
definitely.
kind of set the whole vibration for everything, and it's kind of it led to the wrong, like to a more darker side.
Yeah, yeah,
It
no,
led to a more
that's
darker side.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not like when they did that study with the animals and stuff. They
Mm.
was like, we're gonna, change human social. They were just
Yeah.
trying to figure out how did this work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as I said before, and I maintain, it's also, a lot of marketing and a lot of trying to
Yeah.
sell people shit, and getting people to click on stuff that like that term has
Hmm. Hmm.
become exactly what it's become too.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Hmm.
it's most definitely like got loaded throughout history. People to fall into those traps. That's all.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
My bad. Did I get cut off earlier?
No, no, no. You still here?
Okay. Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
still here?
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. That's all that is. And like I said, I tend to think of the philosophy like be strong, so you are afforded the opportunity to be weak if needed to
Hmm.
be. You know, I
Hmm.
think like man and true masculinity to me
Hmm.
is protection, encouraging,
Hmm.
um, you know, giving, kind of like what Yaku said, being a leader in a sense of like in creating environments where people can grow and
Hmm.
become their best selves.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
that's in the end is my hope for
I
stuff.
could I could see
You know,
why you dislike the term alpha male, and it kind of focuses on on a really one sided track where you're not open to different ideas of look, I'm not open to learn, and some people might look at alpha as this whole one sided thing. I chose
yeah,
that term and allowed myself to understand. So if I don't understand something, to other people, if they'd be like, well, he doesn't understand this, like, yada, 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 he is not an alpha because, like, an alpha knows this and XYZ. How do you not know this? If you don't know it,
yeah,
then technically
exactly.
you're not an alpha. I'm giving myself an opportunity to learn. And I feel like that truly displays confidence as well, where if I don't know something, I'm willing to learn.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Where
Ex-
so a lot of
exactly.
and like this
Exactly.
whole and in a different spectrum with the whole alpha male mindset, even if I don't know something, I'm gonna act like I do just because I feel like it is important for me to convey that, look, I do know everything almost.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. It's ego driven.
Hmm.
It's a very ego driven. It's a very
And that's
egocentric
cockiness,
mindset,
and
which is
cockiness, yeah.
cockiness and leads to all that
Hmm.
stuff. And in the end, it's stifling because you don't
Yeah.
grow, because you don't learn, because it just that whole thing. You think you know every damn thing,
Hmm.
but you don't.
Hmm.
You can always learn. Even if you do know something, just listening to somebody, you can learn something new about it.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
And I think, it's very, very ego driven and egocentric, and it's about making a lot of that stuff is about making yourself feel good, and it
Yeah.
isn't about,
And that's not necessarily wrong, but it kind of drives you down the wrong path.
yeah, it's not wrong, but
Because
yeah,
feeling
exactly.
good
It could
about
be,
yourself isn't bad. It's just like, what's the outcome? So you got to look at the end
but
game.
yeah, it's dark side. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the dark side of that shit. It's
yeah.
I put it all that I put all that shit in the category of like with the term mental masturbation. You know what I
Okay.
mean? It is you're doing that shit to get yourself off to feel good about yourself. But the
Hmm.
truth is, at the end, you're just left with a fucking mess that you need
Hmm.
to clean up your damn self. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's
Yeah,
no
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
there's nothing more to it. It's a very surface level thing, but it could
Hmm.
lead to like a lot of, you know, negativity in life and put on other people. I mean, once again, you get a dude who thinks they're an alpha and he looks at that as I need to be strong, I need to be domineering. I need to keep my foot on people's necks, you know what I mean? Which sounds extreme,
Hmm.
but it really isn't. It's really not extreme. We've all worked for bosses who were horrible, who think they knew
Yeah,
every
yeah,
damn
yeah,
thing, but they didn't know
yeah.
shit. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Or like you couldn't
Hmm.
question nothing, or all
I
that
think I
stuff
know who you're
comes from.
talking about, Justin.
I mean, I could be talking about a few
We
people,
ain't
you know,
yeah, we ain't gonna be
but
saying no names.
but
Yeah.
I think that whole mindset does come from that sense. I'm
Hmm.
running these things. I'm this, that, that, and yeah, yeah. So that's once again, that's really like my big issue with that. That's why I don't like it. That's why I think it's dangerous. I will not, I don't promote it. If I see something that says, if I see a YouTube video and it's like, be an alpha male or the alpha male mindset, I'm instantly
Hmm.
turned off. I'm like, oh, fuck this shit, you know,
I think,
and
yeah,
I'm moving on.
I think
But
the
that's me.
term, I think that like the proper term that the only term that could pop into my mind is being a leader. I mean, Yaku said that earlier too. It's like being a leader, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
every now that I gathered the information, it's kind of like being a leader, but also like take charge when things go down to the way you don't that doesn't meet your expectations. You just let them know, but don't be condescending about it. Be, lead them. But it
And I
doesn't
mean,
necessarily.
and
Yeah.
when I was gonna say, one thing about being a leader is you can't be a good leader if you've never been a good follower.
Mm.
That
Hmm.
I truly believe you do have people who are kind of natural born leaders.
Yeah.
But even then, like you don't truly know how to lead people unless you've had to follow someone. That's
Yeah,
just what it
because
is.
you have to understand how, like, what you liked about them when you were
Yeah,
following them.
you have to
So,
look at what inspired you. Tag, what systems that they use.
hmm.
How what I almost want to say tactics, but that's not the right word. But what
Hmm.
strategies that they use to motivate, to get the results, to
Hmm.
get people to move when they didn't want to move. A lot of that
Hmm.
comes from you learn. You don't learn that
Hmm.
just being a leader. You
Yeah.
learn that by following and taking in information and learning
Hmm. Hmm.
people.
And that's okay.
So
And that's okay. As long, I think the biggest
it's
takeaway is to
essential.
learn. Yeah, it's to
Yeah,
learn. It's
it's essential.
to, yeah. And if someone's giving you shit about you trying to learn something, then it has a lot to say about them, not about you.
Yeah, it's essential. And I will say too, like we have talked many times about like mindset.
Hmm. Yeah, because the circumstances also make leaders happen.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I think it's
yeah.
a. I think a lot of great leaders only became leaders because circumstances dictated it.
Hmm.
They wanted change or something, and then
Yeah.
you know ended up doing it slowly but surely. They
Hmm.
become the
Hmm.
ones. But we talk a lot about mindset, and I just think
Yeah.
that you know, to, I think that the whole idea of alpha male and I want to be an alpha, it's easy to put yourself in the wrong mindset, which will negatively impact you in the future going on and your development.
Hmm.
It's some good, and if you can take that, like you
There's
said
good in
earlier,
it.
if you can take
It's like
that
Bruce
good
Lee.
and like
Yeah.
and take from it that good and
Hmm.
toss away all the bad, that's great. But I think it's
Bruce Lee. Hmm.
that term in particular is too easy to follow down the dark side, and
You might get sucked into this
yeah,
kind of
it's too
vortex
easy
where
to
you're
get
like,
sucked
I
into that
can't get
whole
out of
like.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to be an
Yeah.
alpha. I got to do this and that. Why
Be
aren't these
open minded.
relationships working? Why? Yeah. So, yeah, I really do believe that shit is circular and just help out like young boys and stuff as they grow to become men to hopefully be better men,
Hmm.
than we were or we are, and that like our fathers, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that the term like toxic masculinity doesn't even have a place anymore. Like I said, I hate that fucking term. If there's any term I hate more than alpha male, it would be that toxic masculinity shit. I think
Yeah.
if I said toxic femininity, that would be, that would be
Yeah.
gross. That would be a gross thing to say. So I don't
Yeah.
think it's fair to say like, oh, this masculinity. Like, what the fuck does that even mean?
Hmm.
You know?
Mansplaining.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
that stuff is, this, and once
Yeah.
again, that's going down another road that I'm
Yeah.
not, because I do understand, it's a
Yeah.
lot to that and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So I want to be insensitive, but at the same time, it's like
Yeah.
I don't like the term. I think it's a
Yeah.
bit
Hmm.
egregious
Hmm. Hmm.
myself,
Yeah.
very much so.
Hmm. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I know we've been talking like it's almost been an hour now. To summarize, like the conclusion, right? You spoke about how there's a hierarchy where, um, you, in creatures in animal kingdom. Getting a little blurry, by the way, Justin.
Oh
But
shit.
like,
Okay.
yeah. But in like the whole animal kingdom and everything, it's like it's different because we're more complex than that. Humans are more complex now. How I view alpha male is, someone that kind of knows their worth, that won't tolerate disrespect, and will walk away from any deal, whether it's professional or personal, if it doesn't meet their expectations. In more of a relationship standpoint, where if your girl is giving you a whole bunch of shit, and you're telling her in a very nice, kind, non-condescending way, and you conveyed it very lovingly, and yet she's still throwing that shit back at you, just walk away. Leading your own path is kind of, that gray area where we fall in, and that's something that we both agree on, where just don't take shit from people, know your worth, and walk away when you don't feel like you're being appreciated. And that way you're not creating any type of hate. You're not hurting nobody. You just kind of going your own way, right? But not MGTOW though, right? That's not
Yeah,
MGTOW is
MGTOW's a
totally
whole
different.
that's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
whole
that's
other
like yeah,
beast. Like let's not,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's the answer either. Although I will say I do
I
understand
think
it, but it's not the
walking
answer.
away from like toxic things is really good for your mental health. It is,
Mhm.
and that's something that we talked about mindset. We haven't really talked a lot about like mental health, and that's a topic on its own. So
Yeah, which is
yeah,
something,
yeah,
just a good. I mean,
yeah,
I know we've
yeah,
talked doing a show about it
yeah,
before, and what we
and
want to work on,
yeah,
but there is a level of responsibility to that
yeah,
I
yeah,
know we want to come to.
hmm
Yeah,
and
when you start talking about mental health, that's another level
yeah,
too.
yeah, and like for people that think like, hey, you know what? I don't believe this. I think alpha is the way to go. Power to you. It's all good. Like as long as you're willing to learn, it doesn't matter really what kind of label you put on yourself. It doesn't really matter what you put on yourself. But like the whole alpha male does get this stigma where you have to be loud, obnoxious. You got to be an asshole, right? Like I just won't take shit. So you piss me off just a little bit, I'm gonna fight you, right? So that in itself, I don't know. Would you even consider that an alpha male? in society, they won't.
Yeah, I don't
So,
know. I mean,
yeah,
it depends
yeah,
on where you are. You know what I
hmm
mean? I will say
yeah,
this: if you want to subscribe, I will never tell anyone how to live their life.
hmm
I just offer my opinions. If you want to subscribe to the alpha male mindset, you do that. Just don't be a douchebag.
yeah.
And
Be
that's
willing to
all.
learn,
Just
understand.
don't be a
Yeah,
douchebag.
because ain't
Okay.
nobody likes an asshole. Well, maybe some do.
Some people like
Um,
that. That's
yeah,
a
yeah,
whole
yeah.
other thing. But
That's a
yeah,
whole nother thing. But
I know
yeah,
what you say. I know what you mean.
yeah. Well, thank you all for tuning in. Is there anything else that you would like to say, Justin?
Nah, man. Other
I
than
know. Yeah,
Audible, hit your boy
Audible.
up. I want to recommend the book King,
Yeah.
Warrior, Magician, Lover for anyone who wants to read about masculinity and everything. You can find that on Audible. Who is
hmm
not
Being sponsored.
sponsoring this show because maybe they just don't know. But I'm gonna give them
Maybe
the benefit
they
of the
haven't heard
doubt.
us. Yeah,
Hit up your boy.
yeah. And Yaku and everybody, thank you all for
Yeah,
always
y'all
tuning
cool,
in.
Bonnie. Everybody, Trish, thank
Yeah,
y'all for coming in,
yeah.
listening to me ramble.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
yeah. Oh, I mean, and we do this every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. And if you guys find this video content of value, you guys can show your appreciation by donating any amount that you feel is equal to the value of this video. The details will be in the descriptions. We also accept direct messages. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to let us know. We might even use your that content as our next video as well. What did
Yeah,
Yaku
yeah,
say? He
yeah.
said the
That's
new
all.
alpha male is an audiobook from Audible. Yes.
Yeah, you can listen to that if you want to.
Yeah. By
Let me know
Lance
what you think. Lance already.
Lance Allred. Yes.
I'll look
Yes.
at. You know what?
Yeah.
I'll check it out. I'll see what
hmm
Lance has to
Well,
say. Maybe he'll change my mind. Who
yeah.
knows?
Maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah. Be
Maybe.
flexible. Be open-minded, guys.
All right.
All right. We'll
All
talk
right.
soon.
Oh yeah.
All
Take it
right.
easy, man.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.